Welcome to Popcorn Culture, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of entertainment, media, and all things pop culture. I'm your host, Buzzy B, and I'm thrilled to be joined by my co-host, Jazzy J. Together, we'll be exploring the latest trends in movies, TV shows, music, and more. As entertainment enthusiasts and pop culture fanatics, we've made it our mission to bring you the most engaging and insightful conversations around. Jazzy J brings her unique perspective and humor to the table, and her love for all things pop culture is contagious. From analyzing the latest blockbusters to discussing the hottest TV shows, Jazzy J and I will be your guide through this exciting and ever-changing landscape.
What?
So sit back, grab some popcorn, and join us on this wild ride through the world of pop culture. Let's get started.
Wow, Ben. Thank you for that introduction.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I feel like you're to thank for it, sort of.
A little, yeah.
I was surprised as I opened my show notes today that instead of my typical intro, there were approximately 4 paragraphs to read.
It was a lot. It was a lot more. People listening at home were like, "Is this the right podcast?" I don't know.
I know. Yeah, it's like,
since when is Jazzy J a her?
Did they get bought?
Yeah, we did not. I was playing around with Chat GPT earlier today, as you do. It's so fun.
It's definitely like one of those things where every time I think it's going to not be fun anymore, I will go and reopen it and be like, dang it, I'm having a good time again.
I know. So I was asking it like if it could write a intro for my podcast, Popcorn Culture. I'm the host, Buzzy B, and I need to introduce my co-host, Jazzy J. And
okay.
So that's what it came back with, complete with just a full paragraph just about you talking about me.
I know. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, got to make sure we have the big intro.
I was like, this is a pretty good, just like boilerplate intro.
It's not bad,
most part.
honestly. Yeah. Like it feels like this could be like our description on the like when you open the podcast on like a
yeah.
you know.
I think we just leave the hers in there.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Right? Yeah, that's what the AI said, so it must be true.
It must be true.
It must be right. But the reason I was playing around with it was because earlier this week, Beth was like, my wife Beth was trying to suggest some different video ideas for like the Jay vs. Ben over on the main Super Carlin Brothers channel.
Yeah, like basically Jay versus Ben versus AI.
Yeah, like if we just do the trivia, but also ask the question to Chat GPT, like, can it get it right?
Right.
And stuff like that. So she was trying to do that, and then she was like, I wonder if you could like have it write a theory or something, and then you guys like try and poke holes in it or something.
Yeah, that's
so.
Fun.
But she was all just sort of saying these things or coming up with these ideas without having ever used Chat GPT, so she wasn't really sure like what its capabilities were,
which are pretty extraordinary. If you've never used it, it's kind of mind blowing.
Oh, I know. She like because she used to be a teacher, so one of the things she did was like, could you write a lesson plan for like main point and including details for 3rd graders? And it was just like, just 15-point lesson plan for you. Ready to go. And she was like, wow, that was really fast.
It's like,
yeah.
man. I know, yeah.
It's like on the one hand, it's always like, that is impressive and so useful. And then you're also just like, it's like scary, but then like you could just use it. Like, you know, you can adjust it. You don't have to do exactly what it says or anything.
It's true.
Yeah.
I think the underlying like worry for me is like now Beth as a teacher may know how accurate that lesson plan is. Like she is capable of assessing because she has written her own lesson plans before.
Right.
So she might read it and be like, wow, this is really good, except like, you know, in this case, like they got Jazzy J's pronouns wrong.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
for example. So it's like, but the question would almost be, if like we got far enough along in our dependence on it,
yeah,
whether or not we would think to question it.
That is exactly right. Because like right now, like the like version I feel like of looking stuff like this up is to go to Google and be like, you know, or to like ask it a question.
Right.
And then it will give you answers, and you can sort of like source check it based on like how many of the results are the same and does everyone agree, and it can point you to another link. But like a lot of times Google is pretty good about just like the top result being like, you know, oh, here's the answer. and then here's like a short paragraph, and then there's a ton of links.
Yeah. Like, it seems like these two things must be having been coming to a head for a long time.
Yes.
Like like Google giving you sort of that like top answer, like that top block of information. Like one of the ones I did recently was like, can you use dog waste as like part of your compost for gardening, for example?
Oh, right, sure.
And actually, good or bad example, depending on how you want to look at the conversation that we're having here. But the top little box was like, in fact, you can, like, blah, 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 blah. And then, like, if you continue to, like, read into, like, gardening forums and stuff like that, it's like, it seems like maybe you can't. Is actually the answer. And I was like, oh, this is interesting, because this is like one of those where normally I would trust, you know, that top blurb, you know, like who is the main actor in Castaway, for example. And if it popped up and was like, the main actor in Castaway is Tom Hanks, I'd be like, okay, yeah, like, yeah, I got it.
Right.
You know, but this was like kind of interesting because it wasn't maybe dead on, or maybe there's some more nuance to it.
It sounds like something where it's like, it's possible if your dog consumes this kind of diet, but it's always possible that they'll just have eaten something you're unaware of, and that could carry a bacteria that'll destroy your compost, you know.
Yes, exactly. Yep. You're pretty much nailing the head right there.
Yeah, that seems like, what would happen. And then you're like, well, now I don't know either way. So
I know.
I guess this was useful.
This is ultimately what I was left with. Yeah.
So anyway, another great, so the reason I thought it would be fun to have some like Chat GPT stuff today was because when Beth was first getting on, her like first question she asked was like, do you know who the Super Carlin brothers are? And it came back and it's like, oh yeah, the Super Carlin brothers are these like deep dive people on YouTube. Jonathan is, you know, this, and Ben is that. And, you know, gave like a little blurb like from any About Us page on the internet. Yep. And then her next follow-up question was, who is Jonathan's wife?
Oh my gosh.
I think she like doesn't know about me. Can ChatGPT tell you about me, Jonathan's wife? And I felt like quite certain it was either going to be like, I don't know personal details, or it was going to say Jonathan Carlin married his wife Beth, and you know, and get the correct answer.
Right. Like, I mean, after all, like you guys have like the vlog, which you know came after your wedding, but like certainly there's like Roanoke Times announcement or something like that, like something it could scour that would know, or even just the years of being like on the internet as much as we are, that this is just otherwise well-known information. But so I'm assuming that means that it did not come back.
Oh man, it could not have been more wrong, and it was wrong in just the funniest way possible.
Really? Okay.
Oh my gosh, let me read you the answer.
Okay.
This is the question from Beth, who is Jonathan's wife. Jonathan Carlin's wife is Anna Brisbane. She's also known by her online pseudonym Brizzy Voices, and is a popular YouTuber, actress, and voiceover artist. She has lent her voice to various projects, including Star vs. the Force of Evil, Miraculous Ladybug, and Fairy Tale. Anna Brisbane and Jonathan Carlin got married in 2018.
What?
I know.
I wonder if all those accolades about, shout out to Brizzy, by the way.
Shout out to Brizzy, yeah.
I wonder if all of those are actually accurate about Brizzy.
They are not.
They're not.
They are not.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
No.
So it seems like the waters must have gotten very muddy somewhere.
I know. I'm like, it was like, I could not believe the inaccuracy of the response, because like, it's extremely public that who I'm married to. Right. And like, it's like I think we've been on Brizzy and Tessa's podcast like twice. I'm not even sure if they're still doing it.
I don't know if they are, but I know that also we've had Brizzy on.
We've had her
Jay
on
versus Ben, possibly in 2018, which is what I was going to say. We were at VidCon.
Oh, you're right. I think it was in VidCon of 2018. I think she was on the show then. And then like we met her in New York once for like a Harry Potter trip. She was also invited to. Right. So like I think we have, you know, we've met her like twice, and we've been on shows with her twice, but like that's about it. Other than like, you know, we're just sort of like content creator buddies.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
yeah,
how on earth did it source that? Apparently we're married, so I guess I just had like a secret wife out there. I was a surprise to me. Very secret wife.
Of course, yeah. No, oh my gosh, no kidding. No, that it's so interesting too, because I could even see there being a situation where like if this information would pop up and it would be like who is Jonathan Carlin or the Super Carlin brothers married to, and it like would pop up and it would be like not that you guys have at any point in time had like a romantic anything.
Okay, no.
But like I could see someone who literally has no idea, like seeing like connecting dots would be like, oh, like they're both sort of like fandom content creators,
right?
And like that making sense. But otherwise, yeah, like that is so, because usually like whenever you come up with this stuff, it's like I like as blown away as I usually am by this like AI chatbot and like what it's capable of doing, a lot of times I feel like I can still fundamentally understand what it has done
Right.
at the most base level,
Yeah.
which is using aggregated information about questions that are frequently asked, and it's literally basically like Googling something for you. It is largely like what answers to questions. So my Tom Hanks example would literally just be like you could type into Chat GPT like, who is the star of the film Castaway?
Wilson.
Wilson, yes.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, real unsung hero. But typically I feel like you could have just typed the exact same thing into Google and gotten the exact same answer.
Right.
So I would be curious, like, did you Google yourself to see like if it knew, like if you said like who was Jonathan
I did not
Carlin?
Google it, no.
Because that would be interesting
You're right.
if for some reason it would be showing up that way as well. Like mostly I think the interesting thing to me is the mystery of it. It's like, like what would have aligned these dots? Because it doesn't seem like the source material that AI would need to pull from should be there.
Let's see. I mean, if you just type in who was Jonathan Carlin married to into Google, the first result is from famous birthdays.
Wow.
And it said he married Beth Carlin in the summer of 2015, which is accurate.
That is okay. Yeah. So if anything, it seems like that is what the bot should have done.
In fact, all of the first, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 results are all accurate, and then the fifth one is a YouTube video of me and Beth getting engaged. So I don't know. It was such a funny wrong answer though, and Beth and I both thought it was really funny, and she was like, "Oh, you should tweet that at her," and so we did this morning, and then Brizzy saw it as well and was like, "Wow, this is hilarious. Definitely check your sources." And she was also impressed by her own resume according to Chat GPT.
That's amazing.
She was like, "Wow, I'm really doing well for myself."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How awesome. Okay. Well, so that I think also does go back to the big question though, is just sort of like if you had like the lesson plan done, for example, and it went through and gave you like all these instructions or the bits of information that you should touch on. It's like, because it's so accurate, like 9 out of 10 times, you might get to like one particular detail and it's like, this isn't accurate at all.
Right.
It doesn't belong here in any way, shape, or form. And it's like,
but you need to be like informed enough to know that.
Right. So it's like, eventually I could hear the phrase being said, like, don't believe everything you hear from AI.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, like that would, if you were just wondering who was the star of Castaway and you just typed that in and it was like Tom Cruise is the star of Castaway, you'd be like, I knew it was a Tom.
I knew it was a Tom. It was tip of the tongue.
Great.
Yeah, and then you go on for the rest of your life like telling people and they're like, I don't think it's
no.
Tom Cruise.
I'm like, no, I asked the AI. It said Tom Cruise. Like, I swear. Look. And you're like,
right, yeah.
Well, that's wrong.
It's like I can prove that I asked it and I can prove that I was misinformed.
Yes.
But that's about the size of it. No, I think the whole I was actually having a chat with trainer Gabriel, not ChatGPT.
Yeah.
but chat with Gabriel personal trainer GPT.
Yeah.
Did that work?
You did it. Yeah,
I did it. Okay.
GPT,
Nice.
Chat GPT.
Yeah. So as I'm chatting with Gabriel, personal trainer, real person actually, just in case that wasn't clear.
Yeah.
We were having a big conversation about this exact thing, sort of like, what will like the AI do effectively as time goes forward.
Right.
And we were sort of comparing it to like, I remember like when self-checkout became a thing at grocery stores.
Yeah.
There was sort of like, there is like, that conversation of like, people used to like to do that job that now like the machine is doing. So like, where do those jobs ultimately end up going? And like, what happens as like, as stuff like that starts to take place. So I do think that will just be like sort of an interesting curiosity as we move further into this world, which feels like it's developing just faster than I think I can be comfortable with.
It does feel like that sometimes. You're like, whew, boy, this is just like, because that was the main thing Beth was impressed with, was like how fast and how much information it could just generate. And just like, what would even be the point of writing papers anymore? Like, it'd be so easy just to go on here and be like, can you write me a paper about Abraham Lincoln,
Right.
And just be like, and it could just shoot it out, and you could just like paraphrase it, and that would just be it. Homework done,
Right. Which I imagine has like I have the fact that we're already saying it means it's already been done. Like it feels like this has got to be like one of the first things that people were like, I'm gonna try that. See what it spits out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was trying to apply this to the show today, so I did it a bunch. I fed it a bunch of potential segments for the show,
right,
to see what it would come back with. So Ben, you want to hear a corny joke from ChatGPT?
100% lay it on me.
All right. Why was the math book so sad?
Why was the math? I got nothing.
Yeah, it had too many problems.
No, it sure did. It sure did. Oh, poor thing.
Poor math book,
Maybe it can find some
It was
time.
printed that way.
Can find some time for therapy sometime.
Yeah.
Someone to solve all those problems.
Exactly.
But don't let the librarian see you writing in the book.
Yeah.
I know.
You know who's going to solve all those problems? The AI.
The AI. Okay, what else? Do you have anything else for me from the world of AI?
Oh, yeah, sure. Here you go. I asked it if it could offer me up a strong opinion about a weak thing.
Okay.
I know. I was like, I wonder if it will understand this prompt. And I would say for the most part, yes, it did.
It did.
It did. So it gave me, this was ChatGPT's strong opinion about a weak thing.
Okay.
All right, ready?
I
had no idea what it was going to say.
This is a tough ask for AI though, because this is not like opinions are so much more like subtle in nature that this is not like, who was the main actor where the information just is.
Yeah.
This is like you have to find, even for it to be an opinion must mean that it's walking some type of maybe it's not like a known fact one way or the other, or maybe it will be. So I'm curious how did it do?
I would say that it was a strong opinion. I wouldn't necessarily call it a weak thing. I would call it more like a medium thing.
Okay.
But not too strong. Maybe more like a strong opinion about like a diet thing. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see. Let me know what you think. This is what it came back
with.
It said, this is ChatGPT's strong opinion about a weak thing with no other prompt. It said, I strongly believe that using plastic straws is a completely unnecessary and harmful habit that we as a society need to break. While they may seem like a small and insignificant part of our daily lives, plastic straws are a major contributor to environmental pollution and the destruction of marine ecosystem. Every day, millions of plastic straws are discarded after a single use, ending up in landfills or even worse, in our oceans, where they can harm or kill marine life. And while some may argue that paper and metal straws are a viable alternative, the reality is that the best solution is simply to eliminate straws altogether. Drinking directly from a cup or using a reusable straw is a simple change that can make a big difference. The bottom line is that we need to start taking responsibility for our actions and making conscious decisions to reduce our impact on the environment. The use of plastic straws may seem like a small and insignificant part of the equation, but every little bit counts when it comes to protecting our planet. So let's ditch the straws and make a positive change for the future of our world.
Wow.
I know.
Okay.
So yeah, there you go.
This is I think that's a strong opinion about a strong thing. I think it's important, obviously plastic being one of those topics, but I still think it's interesting nonetheless that it was able to put together that thorough and consistent of an argument.
Yes.
I feel like the early days of AI would be sort of this interesting, it was only able to think about what it had said, maybe for the last 30 words. And then if it started building a bridge for a conversation that was going in a different direction, all of a sudden the conversation would just tangent into spelunking or something instead, and it would accidentally, I used to say that this would always happen with the app Pandora when I'd be listening to music. I'd be oh, turn on 90s hits or something. And it would give me a good medley of things. And then I would get a Backstreet Boys song, which would lead to an NSYNC song, which would lead to 98 Degrees song, which would lead to another Backstreet Boys song. And it would be within the whole world of 90s music, sort of this pop
boy band
sound. It's a vital part of the medley that I want all of, but it oftentimes felt once it found this little echo chamber inside of it, it was okay, so we need a song that's similar to Backstreet's Back, and so we'll go with NSYNC, because it's a song similar to that, and then a song similar to NSYNC is going to be something from 98 Degrees. And and it seems it's all of a sudden you start bouncing around a much smaller window, and you're not inside of the greater 90s era of music. You're inside this one corner of it.
Exactly.
And I feel that's how AI used to behave. But instead, this is more like from start to finish, it's sort of like maintaining the same stance and position and like relating back to itself in a way that's
feels like very complete thoughts.
Very complete thoughts.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing about straws in general, I think this is kind of fascinating because I remember, like, you know, in the early days of Facebook, you know, the social media platform, like people were loving it. It was so much fun. Like you had like your wall.
Oh yeah, you had the wall
that somebody could come and like post on, and it was still like if you wanted to see something like an album that somebody shared, you still had to go to their page on purpose. And like, I can't even tell whether or not this sounds foreign, but it means like this would predate like Instagram or TikTok or Facebook as you know it. Where like you log in and you know that person you went to high school with just had a baby and they just posted their photo shoot session, whatever. And it's like you didn't ask for that particular piece of their, you know, their life, but there it is, you know, like front page when you log in.
Like so when you logged into Facebook in, you know, 2006, it brought you to your page.
Yes.
And that's where you were. And it had a little box of notifications and it would say, you know, Beth commented on your wall, or, you know, but if they didn't interact directly with you, you wouldn't have had a notification for that.
Right.
You know, like you'd have had friend requests, or you would have had things that affected you directly. You were tagged in 10 photos, you know, whereas like there was no news feed at all. Or like timeline or whatever, you know, like now when you log in, you're not brought to your page, you're brought to like a feed of information.
Right.
And like, I used to log in and I could tell like how much social interaction I had based on the notifications there were, you know.
Oh yeah.
It'd be like 4 notifications. Wow. I got a lot of interaction today.
Right.
Now I'll log in and it'll say like 27 notifications. And like, part of me is like, man, that's crazy.
Right.
But then I'll open it up and it'll be like, your uncle liked this photo of your cousin, and it'll be like, I don't care. Like, I don't need to know. Like that's not a notification.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that probably what it comes down to is we're using like we're so far from using Facebook in the capacity that Facebook is. I don't even know if this is really all that true or who uses Facebook anymore. And again, I'm coming up on like a full. On May 1st, I will be 1 full year off of social media myself. So I'm maybe not even the best person to speak to this particular thing, but I do know that like with something like that, like if you were like dating in high school or college or something like that, and all of a sudden you saw that like that other guy from your history class commented on your girlfriend's post, including that particular piece of information in someone's notifications, might be like, wait, what?
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, it's like all of a sudden when you look at it through that lens, like when it's our uncle commenting on like our cousin's, you know, photo or whatever, it's like, okay, like, you know, that's not surprising at all. Like, you know, that's their son, daughter, whatever.
Right.
You know, but in different stages of life and what it might represent and who your collective, you know, Facebook friends are, it might make a very big difference, and it might be a really good way to continue to get people to engage with the platform, because you're like, well, hang on a second, what was Kevin doing commenting on Girl C's post?
Right, exactly.
You know, I'm gonna go see what this is all about.
It's like a very different world where you used to have to log on, and it was like you were in logging in, you were about to dig a hole and uncover a bunch of information, because you might have to go visit this person's page and see what was new on them, and then go visit this person's page and see what was new with them. Or, oh my gosh, this person left a comment here. Okay, what else did they do? Did they comment on all these photos? Let me go check all their photos. You know?
Yes. Yep,
Whereas like, now it seems like at some point Facebook was like, well, how about instead of digging for treasure, we just put all the treasure at the top, because that's what people want, right?
Right. Yeah. And the answer is yes, because it works.
Yeah.
But you might be wondering, like, Ben, how could this possibly relate to straws in any way, shape, or form? And
yes, Ben. How does it relate to straws?
How does it relate to straws? So my thinking though is that one day Facebook just like and I guarantee like they were all sitting at the other end of the computers and they were like, okay, we've built a whole new thing. We're gonna have this news feed, and when people log in, they're gonna start seeing a whole bunch of stuff, and everybody's gonna feel very exposed all at once. And that was the exact sensation.
What it was.
Because you went from like logging in, seeing like, you know, you would log in and see your profile picture and your information and your comments and your wall and your pictures and stuff like that. And now all of a sudden it was just a free for all. You know, it was just sort of like every post that any of your friends put up were now all on like proud display for you to see.
And it was like, it was weird because it wasn't like everything you were doing wasn't public anyway, but it was only public in a sense that someone who went looking for it could find it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And so like, even though all of this stuff was still, public facing, and if you went and like wanted to scroll through all of my pictures on Facebook to see like what I had posted or where I was or what I was up to, you could see those things, but like you would still have to think to go to my page first.
Yeah.
And the thing was, and again, why I bring it up is because people were just absolutely outraged.
Yes.
Like it was like one of these things where it was like the change was so abrupt, and it was like whiplash. People were like, I don't know how to respond to this brand new thing because I feel so much more like vulnerable now. Like statuses became a thing. Like you would post like, like what you up to, when you would like leave your status.
I mean, statuses were a thing before.
Oh,
you would just leave it
Okay.
on your page and someone would have to come find your status.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like now all of a sudden like everything was like so out there, and I remember that there were like all of these like petition groups like on Facebook petitioning Facebook to go back to the original, and people were like sure that it would happen, and it was like one of these things
like
where it was
this is so unpopular, people are gonna leave.
Yeah, and the thing was is that it was like I think and this might speak to whether or not like it's genius or something of the people who did it, is like they knew something that like ultimately people would latch onto even if they would reject it at first. And so it's like when it comes to this straws conversation, like the thing in my mind is it's like maybe this is my own hot take, I'm not sure, but like in my mind it's almost like just literally overnight outlaw them. Like, just like literally like one day it's like straws are no more. You can't use plastic single-use straws anymore. Like they are just gone. And it's the type of thing where it's like, I think what would happen is a lot of people would be like, what? No, I want my straws. Like I go, like my mother-in-law, for example, like she really likes the cup that like one particular fast food establishment has. And so like, like part of her like daily ritual is going like getting her cup. And I know how much that ritual would be disrupted by the now exclusion of straws.
Yeah,
because you would also need to either bring your own or not, drink through your typical to-go cup.
Well, Ben, you've walked right into my trap here.
Oh, no. Did you know I was going to do this?
I didn't know you were going to do this, but I asked it this and I was like, man, this has a really strong opinion. So I immediately asked ChatGPT if it could offer me up an opinion in favor of straws.
No way. Did it have an opinion in favor of straws?
Of course it did, Ben.
Okay.
And it brought up, it was like, the immediate argument it gave in favor of straws, I didn't actually copy and paste this one down, was that straws, whilst they might have their drawbacks, are way more sanitary because now your mouth is only ever interacting with the straw itself rather than the cup at large. And, in a post-pandemic world, that feels very relevant. Then there's some people who absolutely need straws because they're like physically incapable of like lifting and drinking the cup.
Okay,
stuff like that. Reasonable.
Yeah.
Those were his main 2 points, but
okay.
But it was interesting that like just immediately it was like, I'm sorry, did you want to be for straws? I can be for straws. Boom, here you go. Here's a whole lineup of things you could say pro straws.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the internet at large, though, isn't it?
Oh,
like,
it's exactly like it's like I can just make you argue with yourself, ChatGPT.
Right. The internet will share your opinion. You just have to find where it is.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, and so certainly, there are examples, and I even feel like I remember like pre-pandemic, the straws were like a big topic, and I remember we had like a big joke in office for a long time about like having like our stainless steel straws and stuff like that, and like bringing them with us to lunch, remember to bring them and stuff. But then the pandemic came about, and like disposable gloves and masks and like all these other things. It was like it was very, very, very necessary for the time period that we were inside of.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously like I'm not an expert on this in this area, and like I can't really speak to how it all fits together and like the greater picture and stuff like that. So yeah, the sanitation angle, I can certainly appreciate that. It seems like most of the time when there's a disposable product involved, it does feel like, or at least related to sanitary applications, it does seem like disposable is sometimes adjacent to that, because it is like we want to use it this one time for this one thing, and it has not touched anything else.
Right.
So I can certainly see that. But I mean, the big question would sort of just be, like how long would it take? This would be like my counter. How long would it take for people to just be like, well, straws used to be a thing, now they're not.
Right. Yeah.
Like would you discover that like like silicone straws would just absolutely explode. Does it, like the same thing? Like, you know, I used to always say before leaving my house, it was like keys, wallet, cell phone, you know, and I would do like the triple tap thing to make sure I had all my objects. And then through the pandemic, it was always like keys, wallet, cell phone, mask, you know, and it was like,
Right.
I was amazed
You just
at how,
adjusted to it.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, it was so quick that I was just sort of like, nope, can't leave the house. I don't have my mask. Like,
I want to say there's maybe an example of this. Is it we have some friends who just unbelievably happened to be going to the same international school as kids, and then also met each other as adults. Was it in? I want to say it's in Singapore.
Singapore,
yeah,
yeah.
it was in Singapore. Okay, so we had two friends who has kids live there, and one of the things they'll always tell you is that like one of the weird things that's outlawed in Singapore is bubble gum.
yes.
Like, and
Yep.
it's like you cannot chew gum there. And the reason is because people litter gum onto the street, and
Right.
then it's everywhere and it gets on stuff and it's gross, and people don't like, maybe it's not sanitary or whatever.
Right.
And so it's like I can't imagine having someone be like, no, chewing gum's not allowed. Like, literally not allowed. It is like a violation of the law. And it's like, if you did that in America, it's the same thing. You know, it's like people would be immediately outraged, but then to be like, yeah, but now there's no gum, and you just move on. You know, right? It's like, it's like, remember, like the people who were chewing gum will be outraged for a while, but then there will be a whole generation of people who grew up without gum, and that'll just be that.
Right, it's
They
just
won't
like-
even know.
Now
They won't
it's-
even know.
It's like back when I was a kid, we used to chew kind of pieces of plastic.
Yeah. You're like,
If you swallowed it, it would stay in your stomach for 7 years.
that's what they said. Great transition, Ben.
I
by
know.
the way.
I did it on
Boom!
purpose. I did it on purpose.
Oh, that was so good.
total
Okay.
layup. Yep.
Because if you've been listening, actually, it's hilarious that it happened to be gum of all things.
I know.
Because this is what started our, asking random friends for a random topic, which we could discuss on the pop. So of course, I asked Chat GPT today.
Not Gabriel, personal trainer, but
Not
instead-
Gabriel, personal trainer, but
Right.
instead the actual AI bot. Could you offer up a random topic for us to discuss on our podcast? And the answer it came up with was like the most popcorn culture sounding topic I've ever heard.
Lay it on me.
The psychology of superstitions and why people believe in them.
Oh,
Yeah.
fascinating.
I know.
Okay. So superstitions, like, you know, we've got our list here. So some of them would be things like beginner's luck, finding a lucky penny, whether or not you would like walk under a ladder, breaking a mirror, 7 years of bad luck, black cats, a rabbit's foot.
Oh, I do remember those. Yeah.
This is like one of those things that like I feel like as kids getting a keychain rabbit's foot was like a very, very, very common thing that you might get at like
it sounds very weird now.
are they still things? Like,
I
do
don't
people
know.
still do this?
I'm looking at it. It feels like the sort of thing that could have been like culturally insensitive in a way that I was very unaware of.
It does.
Like,
that feels
that-
very likely.
That feels
Yeah.
very like I have no idea. That's just me guessing because I don't know about rabbit's feet anymore. Maybe they just decided to stop selling the appendages of dead animals.
The fact that you even have to say that, it's like, what
like-
a ridiculous thing.
Well, Ben, they dyed them purple and they were very soft.
Well-
or this is a question like, were they real rabbit's feet, or was this just like a
Maybe they weren't.
representation
Oh, okay,
of
okay.
rabbit's feet?
Honestly, I'm gonna try to settle myself with that belief, but I'm sure someone will email me and be like,
Wow.
"No, they were real."
No, they were real, or they weren't.
they were,
Actually,
right.
I really have no idea. I never had one.
Okay. So let's see. The other thing is knock on wood.
Yep.
And I think this one's particularly interesting because I do it.
I was like, well, most of these are ridiculous, but like, wait, I mean, you should knock on wood.
Okay, so this is like I think we've talked about this exact thing before, but like sometimes I feel like a curse, you know, was placed upon us wherein we cannot speak confidently or declare anything about anything, for it will immediately backfire. And I so often in high school, I think we've talked about this on numerous occasions, but it would be like you would like be like excited, like, you know, like, oh, I look cool today, like new t-shirt, got one of those like you know, t-shirts with a little alligator, you know, on the edge there, and it's like, oh, it looks cool, wear my Birkenstocks and my jeans and everything. You walk into class and you know, your flies down and you're just like,
Never mind.
it's like everything's ruined.
Yeah.
I felt so strong, and
Yeah.
now I have fallen. And I feel like this happens to me just time and time again. And just the other day, I think I was talking about, like, you know, like how how grateful I was. I was like, you know what? I feel like I've had such good luck with my trucks. Like they have just never broken down. And then it was one of those things.
Oh
where
yeah,
like,
you said that out loud. Yeah, knock on wood, right?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So even now that I'm just giving the example, I'm like, I should probably just for safety. Yeah.
Right.
Because it was just like one of those things where I was like, I guarantee my car is going to break down in the next like 2 weeks. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I just had it worked on. It's that classic, like, you take it to the dealership and they do all this stuff. And then like 2 weeks later, it's like, hey, why are my brakes off?
Yeah, yeah, right.
It's like, that's suspicious. Maybe it's just a timing
If
thing.
you're unfamiliar with the knock on wood superstition, it's basically if you say something bad is going to happen, that is effectively manifesting it. But if you knock on wood that is near, like literally just like knock, like tap, tap, tap on a piece of wood near you, will effectively have canceled out your jinx.
Yes. One of my favorite instances of this is that one of Alice's close friends' surname is Wood, and so whenever she says knock on wood, she just knocks on her head.
That's
Like,
hilarious.
that's so good.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty amazing. Let's see, what else do we have? The other one that like Alice, I feel like, has introduced me to in spades is Mercury in retrograde, which is like some type of astrological, something like that.
Astronomical.
Yeah. No, that doesn't feel right.
No? Okay.
Maybe astrology. It's astrology.
Okay.
Hopefully, maybe. But this is just basically like whenever like Mercury is in retrograde, it seems like there's always like communication related issues, or like your technology won't work well, or like there's confusion over like what time we were supposed to be at a place or something like that. And it's so funny because like it's like when she first started telling me about it, I was like, hogwash. Like, this is not a thing.
Right.
And then like as we've been together, like the number of times like I have absolutely adopted it, where something I'm going on, I'm like, is Mercury, is it? And she'll look it up and she'll be like, it is. And I'm like, I knew it. But so anyway, the question I think is the psychology of superstitions and why people believe in them. Sometimes I think that there is great comfort in having some type of like when something bad happens, when you've jinxed yourself and your car breaks down and you're like, I jinxed it. I knew it.
Yeah.
It's like it gives you somewhere to direct your emotional energy. I think
it's like it's a way to like relieve your anxiety.
Yes.
It's like, but it also like speaks to like a greater unsureness about like the rules of the universe at the same time.
Yes.
Where it's just like, you know what? It's like there's no reason that saying out loud, "Oh man, I've never had my car break down," would cause your car to break down.
Right.
Like there's no reason that should work. But it like you can watch that. This is a phenomenon you can observe watching football a lot of times, wherein the one team will be doing great, and the commentators will basically just say something like, as long as they don't miss the snap here, they're probably going to win this game. And then like, sure enough, they will have manifested that into existence. And it's just like, it's like literally called like the commentator's curse. Like they will suggest the bad outcome, and then it will happen like magic.
It's
or
like, we
something.
were just saying it. Here it is.
Yeah. So the stuff like that is like, it's like there's no reason that the commentator saying that should have affected anything at all. And yet it seems like it did. And it seems like you can watch it happen a lot.
Right.
And you're like, there's no reason for that. Is there like you're pretty sure about most superstitions that like this has no effect on anything. But like maybe. But is there any harm? Is there any harm in just knocking on wood? Because it makes me feel better because maybe.
I know. This is always one of those things where it's like what if life ultimately just ends up being this grand scale game as to whether or not and there are commentators, there are viewers, like you're inside of like the Coliseum of life, and all of the people who have already played the game are part of the audience, and they're all just sitting there wondering if you are going to figure out like life's mysteries. They're literally looking down on me right now, sitting in my chair, talking into my podcast microphone, and they're like, he's got it.
He's got it.
He's almost found the door. It's amazing.
Right? Yeah. Like, you're up there. They're like, they figured out the ladders. They shouldn't walk under those. That causes bad things to happen. They know that now. That's
right.
I don't know how they figured it out. You'd think that we hide these so well. How did when they got knocking on wood? I couldn't believe that. Like tap, tap nearby wood 3 times, undo a jinx. That's unbelievable. How did they figure it out? But they're doing it.
Right. Yeah. Even the fact you said 3 times, it's sort
Yeah.
of like, it's almost like, how much does that now like lodge into your knock on wood, like mythology, where you're like, oh, it needs to be 3 times. It's like,
that's absolutely part of mine. It has to be 3.
It has to be 3?
Yeah, it can't be 2. It can't be 4.
Right. So you're not just like,
Oh, and Ben, that didn't do anything.
that was a single knock.
You just touched wood.
You just it's not knocking until you've done it more than once.
Exactly. Come on, man.
Oh my
How
god.
these things work.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
Yeah.
No, so this goes back to my constant like Truman Show thing, where it's like there's a part of me that's always like, every time I feel like I'm getting close to realizing it's true, all of the actors in my life are sort of like, he's kind of like catching on, so like you gotta like really deter him, discourage him as much as possible.
Yeah.
So like now's your cue to be like, Ben, you're not on the Truman Show.
Yeah,
and it's like,
of course
it's
not,
like,
dude.
it's like, okay,
You're not
gosh,
on the Truman
yeah, but you're
Show.
part of it. How can I trust you?
Exactly. How can you trust me?
These are my trust issues
Yeah,
that I
right.
have with
Exactly.
everyone in my life. It's, you're a paid actor to be here. Like when I fall asleep at night, do you like get to like press pause and like you guys, like I actually sleep for like 25 hours at a time, and you get to go home and like live your regular life? And,
Oh my gosh, that'd be so weird.
wouldn't that be wild?
Well, let me tell you, what's confirmation that that's not happening is that I don't feel like I've gotten a full night of sleep for like over a week.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's a rough one.
Oh
That's
my
a rough
gosh,
one.
yeah. It's like the odds of like one child being upset in the night at some point when you have 3 kids, like on any given night, one of them's pretty likely like to make it through the night. But for all 3 of them on that same night to make it all the way through, and I say this, it's mostly Nick. Yeah, it's mostly Nick.
Poor
Yeah.
Nick. Poor.
I mean,
I like to think that it's now like 15 years later, and Nick is like power listening to the pop.
Yeah,
and he's
for
now
sure.
like, oh man,
He's like, it was me. It's like, it's not really your fault. I understand. You wake up, you're upset. It's totally fine. But
maybe he'll send you a telekinesis. To be
Yeah,
like,
he'll
hey
send
Dad,
me a
sorry about that.
telekinesis,
Which
yeah.
is what I'm assuming we will refer to texts as by then.
yeah. Yeah. Did you get a TK? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks to the massive advancements by AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's oh, I'm sorry that you're not getting good sleep. That's always
And
the
I mean,
worst.
it's okay. I mean, he's just like a little bit sick, and we took him to the doctor, and they're like, "Yeah, he's just sick," and you're like, "Great, glad we came. Cool."
This is, I think it's actually starting to be a thing though, because our entire family, so me, you, and our younger brother Tyler, and our parents all continue to live in the Roanoke area, which
Yeah.
means it's not uncommon that we can like all get together on Sunday night to like do like a family dinner or something like
Yeah.
that. And I think now there are 15 of us total across like marriages and all the kids, which I feel like what it has absolutely come down to is that statistically someone will be sick every single time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right.
It's like to get everybody in the same room at the same time and being healthy. It's like, no, that doesn't
it's a
happen.
lot. Yeah, that's a lot to ask for. Apparently,
1 in 15 people are sick.
yeah,
not scientifically proven.
yeah.
Anyway, transition. Okay, Jay. So I am getting dangerously close to marathon time.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. And so this past weekend we had our 20-mile run.
It's far.
It's far,
It's far.
and I don't know whether or not this would be surprising to know, but so a marathon is 26.2 miles, and at least a lot of the conventional wisdom that I have seen basically suggests that you can pretty much cap your long run at 20 or 22 miles. Like, it is not necessary to train for a marathon by running a full marathon. And
Yeah, like by the time you get to 20 or 22, your body is capable of doing the 26.
Exactly. Yes, and it has been really kind of mind-blowing for me because we've talked a lot about like our years in high school as like cross-country runners and doing track, and just like even post-college I think I've run 3 half marathons before. So like, I've done a lot of running in my life, and it's sort of wild that like each of these training runs that I'm going on is now the longest run I've ever done.
Right. That's crazy.
Yes. So it's like week in, week out, I keep finding myself doing like, it's like, wow, this is a new milestone. And it was
literally,
yeah, milestone. And as we were approaching 20, we sort of had this like I feel like it really became very elusive and very nerve-wracking because we were actually supposed to do it not just this past weekend, but the weekend prior when you were actually down at the Charlotte Regionals for Pokemon.
Yes.
And I was actually in Charlotte as well to see you guys compete at the regionals, you and Big Steve, as well as going to see Alice's sister who lives in the area. And so like we kind of like we were barreling at it. We were all doing good. Like week in, week out, we were like checking all the boxes and everything. We get to that weekend and like everyone's out of town. Our brother-in-law Mike has like his new catering business, and he had like a gig that he had like booked for that day. So like all of us are kind of like for different reasons, like we can't do the 20 this weekend. Should we push it a week? And like, we'll just do like a different run instead. Right. And so it was like one of these things where like we were approaching it. I was so nervous about it. And then it got lobbed into the future. And then we were doing like this trip away. And I basically just didn't get my run in that weekend at all.
Right.
So like I had gone from like a long run to a complete week off where I was supposed to do my 20 to basically like then coming into the next week where it was like, okay, now I've got to do this big thing, and I missed a week, and it's the longest I'll have ever run, and I'm kind of freaking out about it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that like and anytime you're about to go on the next longest run of your life, it feels like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. Like,
yes, yeah, no, I mean it's ridiculous, and so, like the thing that's like encouraging me above all else is that through our Patreon right now, we have like a step competition that's going on.
Yeah.
And we've done, I think this is the fourth one maybe that we've done before, but it's a month-long thing. And if you're a member of like the Discord, then you're basically just like open invitation to come and participate. They've been super fun in the past and always very motivational. And I feel like it absolutely came in clutch because all I kept thinking was like, I am so scared of this 20-mile run.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know if I can do it. It got pushed, and it was supposed to be now like 2 weeks later than it was supposed to be on a Saturday morning, and then this massive windstorm is rolling into Roanoke, and we're like, I don't think we can do it on Saturday. Like we're like, there's risk of like a tree falling on us, like on the Greenway.
Right.
Like, this is like historic, like level winds and stuff.
Yeah, they're like saying like, don't drive your car on the interstate because it could blow you over a lane or something.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. So it was like, oh my gosh. So it finally got pushed off till this like Sunday, and we're just trying to like configure everything. We're trying to get out there. Like we finally get to the parking lot. I even feel like we stalled for like 15 minutes before we like started the run. We're like,
maybe something will happen and we won't have to do it.
Right. I know. Yeah. It's like maybe we won't have to do it. Yeah. So then we start booking our way out there and everything, and our entire Greenway is not even 10 miles long. So for the purposes of like an out and back, like we literally couldn't even go all the way
to one end and just turn around.
Exactly. Yeah. So like we got to like one end and we had to like run around this like giant parking lot like a bunch of times to like get like our last like few tenths of a mile in so that we could turn back and have 10 miles left, on the other end. And it's been something. It's been something through it because like we were like at mile, I think 14, 15, we're all kind of fading, and we're at this point in time, we're just like, it's 5.5 miles away from the car. There's like nothing that we can do to get us there any faster.
Yeah.
It's like you just got to keep trudging. And we kind of like come around this corner to where Blue Cow ice cream is. And in the parking lot is Alice. And she's like, go guys, go. She'd like been tracking me because like she's like, like find my friends. So she had found us on the run and had these big bags of candy for us. So she like runs down, hands us our candy, and like, we were like off to the races. I was like, oh
that's
my gosh,
awesome.
This is amazing. I was like, such a morale boost. I could not believe it. I was like, I ate like 4 Sour Patch Kids, and I was like, I got this.
I could run forever.
I know. So I was like, so we finally got to the end of it, made it back to the parking lot. All was well. And I was like, boom. Okay. So now we just taper. So next weekend we'll do 10 miles. The weekend after that we'll do 7. And the weekend after that is race day in Nashville. And I'm like, this has been such a huge hurdle for the past like 4 months. And I'm like, we're here. Like we're doing it. And I feel like this is like the first time the whole time that I've actually felt confident. It's like, it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen. You're going to go.
We're going to do this thing.
Yeah.
Gonna somehow manage to muster down something like 50,000 steps in one day.
Whew. Whew, yeah, I know. I remember, when Beth did her marathon in Chicago last year, her step count was through the roof.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but we cap our steps daily at 30,000. So there's a small part of me that's like quietly bummed. I'm like, oh, when you be able to count all my steps.
Whoops. Yep.
Oh well. It'll still be worth it though. And if you want to check out our step competition, you can do so at patreon.com/popcornculture.
Dude. Yeah, on the note of the step competition, I feel like first of all, I love it whenever we do these. It's like so fun.
It's super cool.
I think it's a blast. But like part of me, like I've as ever, so it started and I was like, all right, got to get my walking treadmill going again. Make sure to bring my walking shoes to the office. Make sure I'm wearing appropriate shorts, because let me tell you, some days if you're not wearing the right clothes and you're just wearing jeans or something, like throw down 11,000 steps in jeans, that's pretty uncomfortable after a while.
It absolutely is.
Yeah. You don't realize how much you sweat while you're just walking. It feels so passive.
Right.
Yeah, it adds up. But like what I have noticed, especially this time, that I'm not even sure if I could like if I'm concerned or not, but like, or if I'm bothered by it, but like it almost bothers me how effective the idea that it's a competition for steps like motivates me to walk. Like, because there's not even like a prize involved. There's nothing to be said except like your place on the leaderboard or whatever. And
Right.
it's like the amount it motivates me is like startling to me, like as if like, am I so easy to manipulate? Like you introduce like the lightest bit of competition into this and I am like, let's go.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. It's like, it's literally the case that it's like, it is a strictly participation based thing, like where the idea is just to like do it together. But you're absolutely correct, where it's like, how much effort are you willing to put into something? Or how much can it get you to put effort into something just for the purposes of being like a part of something, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
yeah.
But no, you're right. Like, I mean, it really is, it's amazing to me. And like, it's the type of thing like where, like sometimes, you'll get to like the end of the day, or like, I'll put Addie down at the end of the night or whatever. And, you're kind of beat, I kind of like woke up, went to the gym, had work all day, did all these, like whatever's, got home, took care of a child for a little while. And like, it's like you just want to like go sit on the couch and basically do nothing at that point in time. And instead it's like, I'll put Addie down and be like, I'm going to take the dogs for a walk. In case you need me, like,
I'm going to be getting some steps in here.
I'm going to go knock it out of the park. So it's like, there's nothing I think that like impacts my everyday of my life more than these step competitions do, because it's like, I'm just kind of thinking about it always.
I know.
Even in the morning, like, I take my watch off at night to sleep, and like, a lot of times you get up in the morning and it may depend on like whether or not it's like after I've showered that I've like put like my Fitbit back on.
Right.
But I feel like during the step competitions, it's like I'm not getting out of bed.
I'm like, wait a minute, let me turn around and put my phone in my pocket, because I need to get those steps counted.
Right. Yeah, gotta make sure we're logging each and every single one of those.
Right.
Get that full credit. So no, it's a lot of fun though. It's a lot of fun. I will say though that I like just absolutely hats off to there are some people in the competition who will throw down 30 steps every day.
30,000.
30,000 steps every day. I did 40,000 over the weekend for my 20-mile run, and I was like, I do not know how people are doing this, because it is so absolutely impressive.
I mean, that's like 15 miles a day.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
Yeah.
So anyway, big step in time.
Big step in time. Good fun to be had. It'll motivate you. What bothers me is that like after the competition ends, like normally the entire time I'll have so much fun like doing the walking,
right,
and, like having the treadmill out. But afterwards I'll be like, maybe I can just sit for this. Like it is crazy to me, the drop off effect.
The drop off.
Yes, exactly. The drop off effect, where it's like I was having so much fun doing this exact thing 2 days ago, but now that the competition's over, it's like I'm not doing it as well. But like at the same like why is it so much? Why am I so less motivated just to continue the walking post competition?
See, this is the thing though. Like I feel like I have this phenomenon with like a lot of activities that I want to do. Like a lot of times I think it's not fun for me to do it by myself. And it's like the problem is it's like if I'm the only one doing it, then like, you know, like what's the, like this is my own personal struggle, but it's like, well, like what's the point if I'm the only one doing it? Like we've talked here just recently about the prospect of potentially going in and swinging some golf clubs around and seeing what we can't do with those, and because that's never really been something that we've ever like super engaged in. And the thing is, if I had like pitched it to all my friends and or you know like or you and nobody wanted to do it, then like I don't think I would just go and do it on my own. It's like the only thing that gives it meaning is like doing it with someone,
right?
Like building those.
Like you're not like personally interested in being good at golf.
No, not really. Yeah,
Right.
It's like what I'm personally interested in doing is like having that central activity, like the central hub, the reason to go and like spend time with one another. And I think that this is like something that our parents are like case in point of maybe, or like maybe it was just like the environment we grew up in, but like forever and ever and ever, mom and dad have like gone like hiking, running, biking, swimming, like triathlons. Like they've always had these like shared hobbies that they use to like orientate like all of their travel plans and everything. Like even as kids, like everywhere we went, it was always like, oh, there's a 10K.
Right.
And it was like, how is there always a 10K that we have to go and do, mom and dad?
Yeah.
But you know, it's like they just did it. So like when Alice and I, you know, got started dating, I feel like one of the big things I was like, so like, what's our hobby going to be? Like, what are we going to do together? Like, you know, we should find a new hobby, right? And I think she was just always like, no, I do not want to engage in some type of new hobby. And I think it's so interesting because it's just different perspectives. Because from her standpoint, she was like, well, I don't want to get like really good at bowling. I have no interest in that. And it's like, well, I also, for what it's worth, I don't have any interest in getting good at bowling, but like it like then we have somewhere to go and they sell beer.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, you know, now it's like what we're really doing is like going and hanging out. It gives us like a way to hang out with each other. So
I don't ever feel like that was like my perception was never that like that was the motivating force behind like mom and dad, though. Like this is something like, oh, we should get into running because it's something we can do together.
Right.
You know,
right. Like, and I've thought, mom has been like a self-proclaimed like endurance junkie before. Like she, like I think she really likes, and she does go off both with her friends and in solo, like to do a lot of exercise and such on her own, as does dad, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they would both go, like, you know, dad on his dinner break, I think, like very regularly, like brings his bike so he can go for like a 20-mile bike ride during his dinner break.
Yeah.
In case you want to know why we like doing fitness type things, I feel like that was probably pretty telling. But no, so that's a good point. Like, I think that they probably had their own personal enjoyment, but maybe what I gleaned from it or like what stood out to me was more the ability to spend that time together, possibly. But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm just trying to find an explanation as to like where your drop off comes from for
I don't know.
stepping.
It is weird with the stepping in particular because like not only do I like enjoy the competition, but typically after one of these months, like I feel like I am just physically in much better shape.
Oh,
You know, like it's like you do like, you know, look a little better and stuff like that. But with other hobbies or like interests, like I will remain steadfast like forever. You know,
true.
Yeah, you know,
true. This is we have definitely talked about like you know, discovering like Pokemon cards at age 11 and now at age 35.
Yeah,
like played it yesterday. Played it this morning.
Played it this morning. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's not like I guess I've been. It's like I guess the overall interest in Pokemon has been there,
right?
Whereas maybe the Pokemon cards has been more like a last 3-4 years sort of thing.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's a good point. Yeah.
But
that is true. Yeah, I mean, I think it's we've definitely seen. I think it's you know, translated a lot into like what we do now, like with the Super Carlin Brothers YouTube channel, because like all of these childhood interests have just maintained, and it's like we basically just get to bring a lot of the joy that we experienced as kids to, you know, to either whether it's like trying to stir nostalgia for people in the modern day, or even just again finding ways to like, you know, relate to other people because we both share this interest in the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, one way or another, I think that's a fair bit of what's happening. But yeah, that is curious. Like, do you think at all like you're getting to put your like strategizing mind to work through something like the step comp, where it's like, you know, while we're writing a script, like, you know, it's like I could probably throw down 4,000 steps while I'm typing here.
Right.
You know, it's like two for the price of one.
Right, it's like 2 for the price of 1 or something. It's like because it's being recorded in a public way, it feels like you're accomplishing something.
Right.
As opposed to but not that you're not accomplishing something. Like sometimes I will like the thing I use to track my steps is my phone. So sometimes I'll realize that at some point whilst doing work at the desk or something, I'll take my phone out to check something, and then I'll just absentmindedly put it on the table, and I won't notice for like 5 minutes, and it'll be like, ugh, oh no, like I just lost 5 minutes of steps, and it's like when I lost 5 minutes of tracking the steps. Obviously your body still received those steps.
Yes. Well, so let me take your sort of observation here and extract it a little bit, because I have been curious about this exact same thing when it comes to traveling. And specifically sort of like the idea of traveling and then posting the picture of your travels to social media, with the sentiment basically being like, somebody travels to Santorini, which is like that town in Greece where all the roofs are blue. Like the buildings are white and roofs are blue. You've probably seen it somewhere. But it's like one of those things where I feel like just being there, just having the photo almost ensures having traveled there and then like posting it will like people will be like, whoa, they made it to that place. Like, that's so cool. That deserves a like, and then it's like, maybe if I travel to somewhere like that, then like I can post the same picture and it will also get that like,
right.
or whatever. And so I think when I did step away from social media, this was like one of those questions where it was like, have I ever been taking a picture or trying to do a thing because I wanted the photographic evidence that I was there, and then almost taking that step back and being like, did I want to travel here? Or did I want the photo that proved I've been here?
Right. Did I want the social media interaction?
Right.
Yeah.
And so like the question sort of does become a little bit of that, like, then you might like be like, okay, why did I want to come to Greece? It's like, oh, the food would be cool. And then it's like, do you then like realize like maybe I wanted to come here for a different reason, but now that I'm here, let me embrace it for like a more true version or something. I don't know if that would even be applicable at all, but like it's just something I've kind of observed or seen throughout the years is very frequently it's the you even see it in front of like the castle at Magic Kingdom. Like somebody will hold their phone out and they'll be like, taking a picture, or like they'll have somebody taking a picture for them and they'll look like they're having so much fun. And then the second the picture is taken, it's like smile's gone and like the phone's out, and it's just sort of like you're like looking and like scrolling through all of them to like figure out which one like best showcases you having a good time at the place. And it's like, but I'm watching you right now and it doesn't look like you're having a good time at the place.
Yeah. It's like, it's so weird because like, yeah, you need the picture will look like a certain kind of happiness, like, oh my God, I'm here. But like, what's weird is that like, you're right, like people will take it down and they'll immediately dive in their phone. But it's like, the weird thing is, even though they're not like smiling and like enjoying the park, like they are still enjoying themselves. Like by posting the picture, even though the picture looks like a different kind of enjoyment.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So it's I don't know. It's a really interesting one, but I think that as time has gone on, it's made me very interested in like candids, because I do feel like if you can snag that like authentic moment of somebody, just
candids are always better.
Better. Yeah. So I feel like I did it a little bit last year. I think it was during 75 Hard. Possibly it was joining with like kind of doing the vlog, but also like I like wasn't part of 75 Hard was like you don't like drink alcohol the whole time. So I feel like I went to a couple of like family events and stuff like that where I didn't have anything, and so instead I was like, well, I'll just go like walk around and take pictures. And I was really enjoying like trying to like find these like little moments of like like you picking up Luke or like dad holding Olivia or something like that. And it's like, oh, these are cool. This is fun. Yeah. So maybe that's like just a little bit of like an observation to digest however you see fit. Like I have absolutely no issue of, if you're like super stoked to go and like travel somewhere to like take the picture to like share the thing, that's great. The thing I would encourage you to also do along the way is sort of like ask yourself like how can I enjoy this like to its fullest, or is this how I'm enjoying it to its fullest?
Sometimes I think this exact thing is like what makes it difficult for me to like want to travel to places, because I feel like I like don't want to just go do something because like just because like it's a tourist attraction or something, and it's like I don't like something about it makes me feel like, oh, that'd be like so basic or something. Like I don't want to be just like some like person. But then the end result is you don't do anything, which is ultimately even less interesting. And it's like this weird cycle going on. And it's like, that also sounds stupid because like I've been to Disney World like, and 6 times in the past 2 years. It's
Sure.
Oh yeah, that's not basic or anything, or not that there's anything basic about any of these things. This is just like the internal struggle I feel like that happens in my mind, like not wanting to go somewhere because I felt like manipulated into going there or something.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting, I think, as an outsider. So similarly, like last week I gave my whole saga about like the Budapest tattoo idea or whatever, and I had one of my friends listen to the episode, and he was just like, you were giving me anxiety just talking about this because you've so like this is like what his feedback was, like you've just so overthought it at this point in time, like you just need to like go and like do it. And it's so difficult because it's like inside of my own head I feel like I'm exactly like what you're talking about right now with traveling. Like I have all of these things that like I'm like trying to like deal with, like all these like things I'm trying to like qualify along the way or justify along the way, or like figure out like I can't just do it because it'll look cool. Like it needs to like mean, like something as well. And so like from an outsider looking in on like you talking about this, like there is that part of me that's like, I would love for you to just like almost like throw a dart at a globe and just go.
Right.
Which I feel like is also the sentiment that people have expressed to me, which is like, just go to a studio and pick something you like and just start. But it's funny that they're very different things, but that like we both sort of have this like hang up on trying to like pursue something that like we would be like excited for or about.
Yeah.
So, but no, that is very interesting. And I, for what it's worth, my personal thinking would be like, I would be willing to bet that you would love going to like Japan or Tokyo.
Yeah, like, but say this is already part of the problem. Like, you're just telling me where to go. Like, I don't want to go.
It's like
okay, it's like I don't want someone to have found it for me.
Gotcha.
Like I want to have discovered it. But it's like obviously people only. But then it's like the only way to discover things is by going and doing it. It's not gonna like, you're not gonna wander into it. I don't know. Like on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a good point. And honestly, like that is the that is the same sentiment with like the tattoo, where it's like, you can find like people are like, just find an artist you like, or like go, find like a studio or like a style or something. And it's like, well, if I found the picture of it online, then obviously I can't do it because the picture's already online.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like someone's already
done it.
So I can't have like the same, like the same thing.
Yeah. People will know I have that guy's tattoo.
Right. Yeah. That's why. Wait a second. Hold on. I'm pretty sure I've seen that before. Yeah, I definitely have. BuzzFeed list number 17. Yeah. Wow. Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
Okay.
Yeah. No. So I understand where you're coming from. I do get it, even though I'm having a different problem with it. So,
right. Yeah.
Well, in that case, I will not recommend anything else out of fear of crossing things off your list.
No, it's okay.
Hashtag be supportive.
Right.
Okay, Joe. Last thing that we got, because I feel like we've meandered left, right, and center, and it feels like the perfect opportunity to bring up a word of the day.
A word of the day?
Possible top 10 word.
Okay.
This was submitted by Dola, and Dola said that she thought that this was a good descriptor of the pop. And I feel like with today's episode, it is absolutely, I feel like, nail clean on the head. Clean on the head. So the word is called Coddiwomple.
Coddiwomple.
Coddiwomple. Coddiwomple, which means to travel in a purposeful manner towards a vague destination.
Oh, that is a very good description of this show.
Is that not what we do all day,
We're just a bunch
day?
of coddywomplers.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel like a great T-shirt would just literally be "I Coddiwomple."
Coddiwomple. That is a great T-shirt because people will think it means very different things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like I feel like it's a treasure map where instead of an X marks the spot, it's just like a dashed line that goes to a question mark.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, I think this is right. Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna Coddiwomple my way out of the end of this episode.
Yeah, just gonna Coddiwomple right out of this podcast.
There you go. So I didn't intend for for us to have basically like a 15-minute promotion for the step competition, but we did end up kind of having one accidentally. So if you would like to check it out, you can still join at any point in time during the month, and we do these pretty regularly throughout the warm months of the year. So if you would like to check out our Discord server, which comes with the $5 tier over on Patreon, it's patreon.com/popcornculture. You'll also gain access to After the Final Pop, which is just like an extra 15 to 20 minutes of Jay and I talking after each week's episode, whether it's about something we talked about in the main episode or just something we didn't get to at all. In addition, it is officially the second quarter of the year, because we are now officially in April, which means that we can announce our second piece of quarterly merch for the year, and I'm so jazzed for this one. Or buzz, I'm buzzing.
You're buzzed.
I'm buzzing.
I feel like you were. I think jazz. You know, we all know. There's a little Freudian slip over there.
A little Freudian slip. That's okay. It's whatever.
Yeah.
But what we're going to be doing for Q2 merch, and the good news is that like with a lot of the things that we've made for the quarterly merch, sometimes it requires like creating entirely new custom designs and like getting them made or fabricated or something of the sort. The lead times end up being forever. These are already in production. We literally submitted the order already. So this will be the first time ever that there is actually a capped limit where we can potentially sell out, because we did need to predict how
many we need to make.
How many we need to make. It is going to be a mint-colored Deneen coffee mug.
Yes.
And if you've ever seen us do like the animal mugs for Carlin Brothers Coffee at the end of the years, this is going to be made by the same people, Deneen Pottery. They are literally individually hand-thrown mugs, which means that like every single one of them is made by hand. The color again is going to be like this, like a mint color to the mug itself. It will have the Popcorn Culture logo, like sort of like clay enameled right there onto the front of it.
Yes.
The mock-ups that we've seen of them look absolutely gorgeous. I am so excited for to get a picture of one that has been like fire kilned.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna be so cool. That is available at our quarterly merch tier at patreon.com/popcornculture. So be sure to go and check that out. Otherwise, if you have any feedback for the show whatsoever, be sure to send it to popcornculturepod@gmail.com. And otherwise, until next time,
Pop.